Dear students, let us continue our discussion on polymers. Our next category of polymer is phenol formaldehyde resins. So we need to do a few polymers which we are actually using in our day-to-day lives. First of all, we'll take up phenol formaldehyde resins. Now you know phenol, it first undergoes a kind of electrophilic substitution reaction. As you can see here, as we all know, phenol is orthopara director. So when it combines with formaldehyde in the acid or alkaline medium, one of the products which we get where this CH2O, when takes up this H from here, becomes OH, gives you a ortho product. Then you get di-substituted product both at the ortho and para position, and you also get a tri-substituted product at both the ortho positions and para positions. So these products which are formed, they serve as monomer for the polymerization. When we take the first product, that is the ortho product, and carry out its self-condensation reaction, then we get a kind of polymer called novolac. And novolac is a paint, usually white in color. And you can easily remember this because most of you might be knowing that Narrowlake is a well-known paint company. So how it happens, you take this product, you can see here I have written the same product, but only thing is here I have shown the H, projected the H. So when you take two similar molecules, OH from this end and H from the other ortho position from the another molecule, they lose water and they get linked. Similarly, the OH from the other end combines with the third exactly the same way. OH from this and H from the other molecule at both at the ortho position, they lose water, and at the end of each reaction you have a H at one extreme and CH2OH at the other extreme. So the H can be lost from one end and OH will be lost from the other end. That's why we have shown the polymeric chain by this zigzag line. So here you have this benzene ring with OH and this CH2. This CH2 is behaving as a bridge between the two rings, and then again you have benzene ring with the OH and again a CH2 and again a benzene ring with OH and CH2, and this polymerization continues at the two extremes. So this way when we get the polymer, it is called novolac, and as I told you, this is one of the well-known paints. Now the next polymer, which also comes under the same category of phenol formaldehyde resins, that is called bakelite. Now bakelite we all use. It is very hard. It is a thermosetting plastic. It is used in the electrical gadgets such as your switchboards. It is also used in the thermal, the apparatus which needs thermal insulation such as electric iron, handles of the pressure cooker, etc. So bakelite, when you look at the structure, initially we find it a little difficult to remember. Okay, but you see, it's not so difficult to remember. Only thing is you have to remember the structure of novolac. Now you see, this is one of the novolac units I have drawn. CH2 with the benzene ring OH, and then again CH2, then benzene ring OH, again CH2, benzene ring OH, and CH2, like this. Now to draw the bakelite structure, what you do, the other structure also you draw that of novolac only, but upside down. Okay, you see here I have written OH on the top, so here OH goes at the bottom, and at the ortho position we have the CH2s. So two novolac units you have to write, one upside down with respect to the other. Then at the para position, what you do, you put CH2s. Okay, and that's how you get the bakelite structure. So far bakelite structure has not been asked in the board exam, but it's called cross-linked polymer. It comes under the category of cross-linked polymer. It also comes under the category of thermosetting polymers. And use of bakelite I have already mentioned, but you please check the textbook to know more about it. Now the next polymer which you have to do is melamine formaldehyde resin. Melamine nowadays is a very important and a very well-known polymer used in crockery industry. You know that nowadays that melamine plates, melamine crockeries are very colorful and beautiful, and they are considered as unbreakable utensils. So they are in high demand in the market. So you can see here how we get melamine formaldehyde resin. The structure of melamine also is easy to remember. As you can see, I have already written. You first draw a benzene ring. You can check here. First you draw a benzene ring and then replace the carbons at alternate positions by nitrogen. Then the positions which have carbon, there you put 3 NH2 groups at the 3 carbons. That's how it is the monomeric melamine. But the polymeric melamine doesn't form only using monomeric melamine. It has to condense with formaldehyde. That's why it is coming under the category of formaldehyde resins. So NH2, as you know, NH2 group serves as a nucleophile, and CO group in the aldehydes behave as an electrophile. We have done such reactions. So the NH2 group attacks the carbonyl group, the CO bond opens, and then O takes up the H. That's how you get this structure. Okay. This part remains same, only here there is a change. This NH2 group becomes NHCH2OH. Now this serves as a starting material for the polymer. So what happens here? So you can see here this monomeric condensed product serves as the monomeric unit for the polymerization. Now you may note here that here we got a bifunctional monomeric unit. At one end you have OH and the other end you have NH2. So what happens? From this end OH is lost and from this H is lost from two different molecules. Okay. So this way you get a polymeric chain at this point and you get a polymeric chain at this point. So that's how you get formaldehyde melamine resin, which is a very important in the crockery industry nowadays. This circle which I have drawn here, they show the site at which the polymerization takes place. So that's all about the resins. Next we move to the next category of polymers, that is rubber. Some of the rubbers we have already discussed earlier. Now let's take natural rubber. You know that natural rubber we get from rubber tree. And how we collect the natural rubber? Usually incisions are made in the stem of the or the trunk of the tree, and some containers are kept there where white latex of the rubber is being collected. But that rubber is not fit for use. So we do some chemical treatment which we'll be learning later. So what is natural rubber? Natural rubber has been asked last year also, year before last, 2020, in the board exam. Natural rubber is nothing but cis polymer of isoprene. Isoprene is the common name. IUPAC name is 2-methyl-1,3-butadiene. Now as the name looks very difficult, the structure is not very difficult. Let's begin with the word root. But means 4 carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4. Diene means 2 double bonds at one position and 3 positions. So at one position we have a double bond, at 3 position we have another double bond, between 1 and 2 and between 3 and 4. And what is the location of the methyl group? Methyl group is in the 2 position. So you can see here at 2 position we have a methyl group. So this is called isoprene, and since it is a unsaturated hydrocarbon, it will undergo free radical polymerization. As we have discussed earlier, free radical polymerization mechanism also we have discussed. So here the double bond will break homolytically and free radicals will be created at the 4 carbons. Okay. Now the free radical between carbon 2 and carbon 3 will form a double bond just like this. And at carbon 1 and carbon 4 we will be left with the free radicals. So the chain will grow from this end and the chain will grow from this end. That's why we have drawn these zigzag lines. But when you show the C structure, what you need to do? You project the CC double bond here and the bigger group you put on the same side, We don't really know how many carbons are here, how many carbons are here, and these two groups are different, so they cannot be, considered to discuss the cis and trans form. So we just considered the bigger groups which are on the same side. That's why we call them cis isomer of 2-methyl-1,3-butadiene. Now this rubber is very very sticky and cannot be made use of. But nowadays you know that rubber is playing a very important role in many of the industries. So what is done? Some chemical treatment is done in rubber, and the process is called vulcanization of rubber. Vulcanization, the word is coming from the word volcano. Volcano in other words is related to fire, and the god of fire in Greece is known as Vulcan. Okay, the whole incident took place over fire accidentally, and that's why the process has been named vulcanization of rubber. So I'm not going into the story behind, but I'm just telling you what it is. What happened in that rubber latex which is being collected, you add calculated amount of sulfur. Calculated amount of sulfur depends on how much toughness you want in the rubber. Accordingly you have to do the calculation, and this mixture is being heated at around 373 to 415 Kelvin. So after heating you will find that the stickiness of rubber has vanished, and it has become a very wonderful substance which can be used for, for erasing, for your rubber band, for making the tires of the car, depending on the different concentration of sulfur added. Now what really happens when we add sulfur? As you can see, natural rubber, it has a carbon-carbon double bond which is very very reactive site, and these carbons are called allylic carbons. So when we have two such layers, okay, you can see here in the figure I have drawn, when you have two such layers, these carbon-carbon double bonds are very very reactive, and these CH2 groups are also very very reactive, allylic positions. As you know, allylic free radicals are very very stable. So two ways the sulfur can get attached to the two different rings. One is between the double bonds, okay, one sulfur comes in between two layers and it forms a crossed link polymer, and this is also an example of synthetic polymer, okay, semi-synthetic polymer. Because why is it semi-synthetic? Because you get the raw material from nature, so it is natural, but the natural rubber cannot be used for any practical purposes, so we do some chemical treatment on it, so it becomes synthetic. So that's why we call it semi-synthetic polymer. So this way the sulfur gets introduced between the double bonds between of the two layers, and it becomes fit for use. The other way sulfur can get introduced in the ring is at the allylic position. You see here we have taken two rings, two chains, and we are heating it with sulfur, and the sulfur gets introduced at the allylic position. Please remember, when you are putting a sulfur here, you have to remove the hydrogen because it was already saturated. No, this part is already saturated, so from CH2 it becomes CH. That care should be taken. So this way, these both the rubbers which we get, they are cross-linked rubber. This is the polymer formed at the double bond, this is the polymer formed at the allylic position. Then we move to synthetic rubber. Some of the synthetic rubbers are already discussed, but let me take the ones which we have not covered before. The first one is called neoprene rubber. Also, neoprene rubber is the starting material for neoprene rubber is chloroprene. Chloroprene is just another isoprene, but only thing here is in isoprene we had a CH3 here. Now instead of CH3 you have to take a chlorine. The reaction is very similar to that of natural rubber. Okay, this is also a cis isomer, and here the free radical is forming. The free radical is forming between the carbon 1, carbon 2 and carbon 3, carbon 4. The two free radicals forming a double bond between carbon 2 and carbon 3, and the free radicals are free at carbon 1 and carbon 4, at which they increase the chain length. So that is neoprene rubber. Then another rubber, Buna-N. If you remember, last time we have discussed, Buna means butadiene, so styrene rubber, and Buna-S is butadiene styrene rubber, where Na stands for the sodium which is behaving as an initiator, and Buna-N is butadiene acrylonitrile rubber. Okay, so we have already discussed those, so I'm not repeating them again. And as I told you time and again that polymers are usually named by their common names, not by IUPAC names. So thank you for the time being.